Welcome to this exciting update on maximizing your AI for Business membership using two state-of-the-art tools that nobody else in the world has access to: the Revven Prompt Builder and the Revven Prometheus Prompt Architect. By the time we finish this presentation, you will understand how you, with a little practice, can position yourself in the top 1% of vibe coders and application builders. And this is not hyperbole. Let me give you some context. Lovable.dev is the fastest growing software company in history. They reached $100 million in annual recurring revenue in only 8 months. They achieved a $6.6 billion valuation after raising just $330 million in 2025. As of today, they have over 10 million project builds and more than 320,000 paying customers. And here is what makes your AI for Business membership extraordinary. Only members of our community can truly maximize this revolutionary platform by combining Claude Opus 4.5 in our Revven Chat Toolbox with our exclusive access to the Revven Prometheus Architect, and then stacking that power directly into lovable.dev. This combination puts you in the top 1% of those 320,000 lovable customers and ahead of billions of people around the world who simply do not have access to what you have. This is truly an extraordinary value that we share as AI for Business members. And today we are just talking about applications. Lovable is also becoming known as perhaps the best website designer ever created, but we will explore those in later sessions of the Lovable Accelerator course. I am Michael Cooney, and I have spent over 40 years in business management and consulting. I am also an AI for Business alumnus who has been deeply involved in our community, and I created the lovable.dev Accelerator course specifically to help you leverage these extraordinary tools. Now I want to address something important that happened this month that fundamentally changes how you should be using Lovable moving forward. In December, Lovable rolled out 3 major updates that represent a complete philosophical shift in how the platform works. This is not just another feature addition. This changes the core workflow that you have been learning throughout this course. Tonight, we are going to focus on 2 critical concepts. First, the planning conversation methodology that Lovable introduced this month. And second, the philosophy behind why Lovable made these changes and what it means for how you approach every project from this point forward. Let me start with a question. How many of you have experienced this scenario? You spend time crafting what you think is a perfect prompt. You hit generate. Lovable creates something, but it's not quite right. So you iterate, you refine, you try again. By the time you get something acceptable, you have burned through 15 or 20 credits and spent an hour going back and forth. This is the old way of working with Lovable. It still functions, but as of December 2025, there is a dramatically better approach available to you. The problem is that most of you do not know it exists yet because you learned Lovable before these updates launched. Here's what changed. On December 2nd, Lovable integrated Claude Opus 4.5, the most advanced AI model available in the world today. This alone represents a massive quality upgrade. Early data shows 15% fewer mistakes and 5% higher project success rates compared to the previous model. But the real game changer came 3 days later. On December 5th, Lovable introduced chat mode as a planning tool and added follow-up questions. Let me say that again. Lovable introduced chat mode as a planning tool and added follow-up questions functionality. These 2 features working together transform Lovable from a code generator into a development partner. Let me explain what I mean by that distinction, because understanding this philosophical shift is absolutely critical to your success. The old mental model, the one most of you have right now, treats Lovable like an advanced code generator. You provide detailed specifications, Lovable generates an implementation, and you refine through iteration. Your success depends entirely on how well you can engineer the perfect prompt. The new mental model is completely different. You now treat Lovable like a junior developer on your team, a talented junior developer with strong technical skills, but someone who needs project context and direction from you before they can do their best work. So think about how you would work with a real junior developer. You would not just hand them a specification document and walk away. You would have a conversation. You would explain the project goals. You would answer their questions about requirements. You would establish shared understanding before they start coding. And that is exactly what chat mode planning conversations enable. The results speak for themselves. So let me show you the credit economics, because I know what some of you are thinking right now. You are looking at your limited credit budget and thinking that planning conversations sounds like unnecessary overhead. Why waste credits on talking when you could use those credits for actual implementation? This is the misconception that we need to destroy right now with concrete numbers. Here's a typical scenario using the old immediate generation approach. You enter a prompt that costs you between 1 and 3 credits depending on complexity. The generated application is not quite right, so you iterate 3 more credits. Still not aligning with your vision. Another iteration, 2 more credits. By the time you get acceptable output, you have consumed 8 to 12 credits. Now, let's compare that to the planning first approach. You start a chat mode conversation, 1 credit. The agent asks clarifying questions. You respond, 1 credit. You refine the scope through dialogue, 1 credit. After 3 to 5 exchanges totaling 3 to 5 credits, you have crystal clear shared understanding. Kind of like what we're talking about with your very talented junior developer. So now you trigger generation, 2 credits. The initial output is far superior because the AI understands exactly what you wanted. Maybe you need 1 iteration to polish, 2 credits. Total credits with planning, 7 to 9. Total credits with immediate generation, 8 to 12. But here's what those numbers do not capture. The quality difference between the 2 approaches is massive. The planning first workflow does not just save you 1 to 3 credits. It produces dramatically better initial results that require far less rework. And this brings us to the second critical point. Quality expectations shifted this month. In December, a project that would have earned you full marks in November might now represent only adequate work. If it fails to leverage the improved design capabilities that Claude Opus 4.5 has enabled for us, the bar is raised. The student who adapts to the planning first workflow will produce portfolio-worthy applications. The student who sticks with immediate generation will produce functional but unremarkable work, and that quality gap compounds over time. So let me teach you the planning conversation methodology. Let me repeat that. We're calling this the planning conversation methodology. This is what Lovable's calling it. This is not intuitive. You cannot just wing it. There is a specific framework that extracts maximum value from chat mode planning. We'll call this the 5 planning dimensions framework. Every planning conversation should address these 5 areas before you generate any code. First, audience and purpose. You articulate who will use the application and what problem that it solves. The agent asks clarifying questions about user sophistication, device preferences, and usage context. Second, core features and scope. You describe essentially functionality versus nice-to-have enhancements. The agent helps you prioritize features and identify dependencies between components. Third, design direction and aesthetics. You communicate visual preferences, brand requirements, and user experience expectations. The agent asks about color schemes, layout approaches, and interaction patterns. Fourth, technical constraints and integrations. You specify required integrations, data sources, authentication methods, and deployment targets. The agent identifies potential compatibility issues and suggests implementation approaches. And fifth, success criteria and validation. You define what done looks like and how you will evaluate the completed application. The agent helps establish measurable outcomes and testing approaches. So let me give you a concrete example of what this looks like in practice. Imagine you want to build a recipe sharing application. Here is how a planning conversation unfolds. You start by describing the concept in chat mode. I want to build a recipe sharing app where users can post their favorite recipes and browse recipes from others. And the agent immediately starts asking clarifying questions through the follow-up questions feature. Who is your target audience? Home cooks, professional chefs, or dietary-specific communities? Will users need accounts to browse recipes, or only to post them? Do you want social features like comments and ratings? You respond with context. Target audience is home cooks who want to organize family recipes. Users should be able to browse without accounts, but need to sign in to post. I do want ratings, but not comments initially. The agent continues refining understanding. For design, are you thinking modern minimalist, cozy traditional, or magazine-style editorial? Should recipes support video or just images? Do you need ingredient scaling or meal planning features? You clarify. Modern minimalist with beautiful food photography emphasis. Images only for now, no video. Ingredient scaling would be valuable, but meal planning can wait. So notice what happened in that exchange. Through 5 or 6 interactions, you and the agent established complete shared understanding. The agent now knows your audience, core features, design aesthetics, and technical scope. And when you trigger generation after this conversation, the initial output will be remarkably closer to your vision. Contrast that with the old approach, where you would try to cram all that context into one massive initial prompt. Even if you could articulate everything perfectly, which is nearly impossible, the AI would still need to make assumptions about ambiguous points. Planning conversations eliminate assumptions. Ambiguity gets resolved through dialogue before any code generates. Now, I'm going to take issue with this particular point. I believe what I just said is true for everyone else in the world except for people who belong to AI for Business. Because nobody in the world except for us has Revven. We can talk to Revven to create the super prompt. And as you guys always know how I harp on this, please ask me clarifying questions before you generate your response to make sure that your output meets my expectations. You guys know that I put that on the end of every single pre-prompt that I've ever done. So basically, I'm doing what Lovable is now doing. Brian and Francis have taught us this all year long. Well, they've just integrated that into Lovable. They are using this very specific technique in their chat mode. So for 99% of the world that is not a member of AI for Business, they need these planning conversations. But we have the Revven Prompt Builder and the Prometheus Prompt Architect. And I can make all these amazing apps just like I did last week. You guys saw it live where I took that gentleman's app that he had been struggling with for months and fixed it in just 5 minutes with a Prometheus super prompt. Here's the AI for Business Pro workflow that nobody else in the world has access to. First, discuss your app with Opus 4.5 in Revven Chat. That's included with your AI for Business Pro membership. Ask it to provide a pre-prompt for the Prometheus Architect once all ideas have been exhausted. Then let Prometheus create the super prompt with all advanced enterprise functions. The next step is to drop this Prometheus super prompt into Lovable, which directly impacts credit consumption, saving you additional credits. You can almost one-shot a fully functional enterprise application with all advanced back-end implementation for just a few credits. Now, let me address database planning specifically because this is where planning conversations provide extraordinary value. Session 2 students, pay close attention to this section. The December updates make database planning conversations particularly powerful. Instead of prompting for a database schema and discovering relationship problems after implementation, you can now discuss data model requirements conversationally before generating any database code. The agent can suggest cascade delete options. The agent can identify potential foreign key issues and recommend row-level security policy approaches during the planning rather than after errors occur. Here's how database planning conversations work. Let us use the recipe app example again. In chat mode, you describe your data requirements conversationally. I need to store recipes with ingredients and instructions. Users should be able to save their favorite recipes, and I also want to track recipe ratings. If I didn't have access to Revven, I would have to know all of this stuff beforehand, all about row-level security and all about environment variables and all the different back-end things. Fortunately for us, Revven knows how to include these things, which directly impacts initial credit usage using Lovable's chat mode. But what they've integrated into Lovable for the non-AI for business community is an intelligent agent. It's like, okay, if you want all of these things that require SQL databases and PostgreSQL data tables, the agent automatically knows because it's using that Claude Opus 4.5 chat mode. However, that mode is costing you credits. But we, as AI for business members, have that unique advantage to be able to save even more credits by utilizing the tools that we have in our Revven toolbox, Revven chat mode, and the Prometheus Architect prompt builder. But what they've integrated into Lovable for the non-AI for business community is an intelligent agent. It's like, okay, if you want all of these things that require SQL databases and PostgreSQL databases, the agent automatically knows because it's using Claude Opus 4.5 in its chat mode. Again, we have a tremendous advantage over everyone else, though, because we can save those additional credits by utilizing what's in our Revven toolbox. We can talk to Claude Opus 4.5 in Revven chat mode extensively without burning up our Lovable credits. Combining that with the Revven Prometheus Prompt Architect further progresses and enhances our instructions to Lovable, giving us a huge advantage in credit consumption savings versus those who are not members of AI for Business and have access to the Revven toolbox. But I digress. Let's go back to the Lovable workflow. Now, it's going to say, should ingredients be their own table with relationships to recipes or embedded within recipe records? If a user deletes their account, what happens to their posted recipes? Should I delete them or keep them anonymous? For ratings, do you need to prevent duplicate ratings from the same user? You refine the model. Yes, separate ingredient tables so we can search and filter by ingredient. If a user deletes their account, keep their recipes but show them as anonymous. Definitely prevent duplicate ratings with a unique constraint on user and recipe combinations. The conversation establishes your complete database architecture before you generate a single table. The agent continues, for row-level security, should users only be able to edit and delete their own recipes? Should ratings be visible to everyone but only editable by the user who created them? Do you need admin roles with elevated permissions? The agent now understands your relationship structures, cascade delete behaviors, security policies, and data integrity constraints. When you proceed to actual database creation After this planning conversation, the generated schema will include proper foreign keys, appropriate cascade options, and all your row-level security policies. And they will actually work. You avoid the common mistakes that plagued database implementations that are built without planning. So for Session 2 students specifically, this planning conversation approach should happen before you connect Supabase and before you create any tables. Have the database architecture conversation first. Then you can implement with confidence. Let me also address security scan integration because this ties directly into planning conversations. Your Session 2 materials warn about environment variable security and proper Supabase configuration. The December updates make security scan even more relevant, but you need to use it differently than you might think. Do not treat security scan as just a pre-published checkpoint. Instead, incorporate security considerations into your planning conversations from the very beginning. During database planning, ask the agent about security implications. What row-level security policies do I need for this data model? Are there any potential security vulnerabilities in this approach? The agent can identify issues during planning that would otherwise only surface when you run security scan before deployment. This proactive security planning prevents you from building an entire application only to discover fundamental security problems at the end. For those of you working on advanced sessions in the Lovable course that are covering production deployment, planning conversations offer similar value. Instead of discovering performance problems or error handling gaps after deployment, discuss these concerns during planning. Start a chat mode conversation about production readiness. I am preparing to deploy this application to production. What performance optimizations should I consider? How should I handle errors and edge cases? What monitoring do I need? Now consider the AI for Business advantage that we have as members. We can exhaust all questions that we may have and consider additional features that are needed based on Revven's analysis and recommendations. We can unpack all potential design features and develop a clear understanding without spending a single lovable credit. The Claude Opus 4.5 model can provide sophisticated guidance on production concerns when engaged through planning conversations. It can suggest caching strategies, identify potential bottlenecks, recommend error handling patterns, and outline monitoring approaches that would not occur to you without this dialogue. Reactive troubleshooting after deployment is expensive and stressful. Proactive planning conversations during development prevents problems before they reach production. So now I want to address the mental model shift again, because this is truly the key insight that makes everything else work. You need to stop thinking of Lovable as a tool and start thinking of it as a development partner. Tools do what you tell them. Partners collaborate with you to achieve better outcomes. When you treat Lovable like a tool, you focus on prompt engineering. You try to give perfect instructions. You iterate when the output does not match expectations. And this works, but it has a ceiling on quality and efficacy. When you treat Lovable like a partner, you focus on communication and collaboration. You explain your goals. You respond to questions. You refine understanding through dialogue. And this approach has a much higher ceiling because you leverage the AI's reasoning capabilities rather than just its code generation. So here's a practical implication. Starting with your very next project, begin with chat mode planning. Do not start by typing a detailed prompt. Start by having a conversation. Describe your idea naturally. Respond thoughtfully to follow-up questions. Clarify ambiguities. Establish shared understanding. Only after you achieve that mutual understanding should you trigger actual code generation. This feels slower at first, You are adding a planning phase that did not exist before, but the total time from concept to acceptable implementation decreases dramatically because you avoid iteration cycles caused by misalignment. So let me give you a concrete action plan for implementing this methodology starting now. For your next project, allocate 20% of your expected budget to planning conversations. If you typically spend 10 credits on a project, reserve 2 credits for planning. Prepare for planning conversations by outlining what you want before you start chat mode. Know your audience, your core features, and your basic requirements. This preparation ensures focused conversation rather than meandering dialogue. During the planning conversation, provide specifics when responding to follow-up questions. Do not just say yes or no, give examples. Describe edge cases. Explain your reasoning. Rich responses help the agent build accurate mental models of your requirements. Document your planning conversations. Save your transcripts. Review them before starting implementation. And refer back to planning decisions when making refinement choices later. I also want you to run an experiment over the next couple weeks. Build 2 comparable applications. For the first application, use your old immediate generation workflow. Enter a detailed prompt and iterate until you have acceptable output. Track your total credit consumption and total time spent. For the second application, use the new planning first workflow. Start with a chat mode conversation. Establish understanding. Then generate. Again, track credits and time. Compare the results. I predict you will find that planning first consumes similar or fewer credits while producing superior initial quality and requiring less total time. And here's what I need you to understand as we wrap this up. The December updates are not just feature additions. They represent Lovable's evolution from code generator to development partner. This is a fundamental shift in how the platform works and how you should use it. Students who adapt to planning first workflows will produce professional quality applications that rival junior developer output. Students who continue with immediate generation approaches will produce functional but unremarkable work. The quality gap is real and measurable. Claude Opus 4.5 raises the baseline for what is possible. Planning conversations help you reach that elevated baseline consistently. This is not optional for students who want professional outcomes. This is the new standard methodology. Learn it, practice it, and make it your default workflow. Before we close, I want to emphasize one final point. Everything you learned in previous sessions remains valid. Your session 1 knowledge about Lovable's fundamentals still apply. Your session 2 understanding of database integration and row-level security still matters. Your expertise with GitHub and Netlify that we learned about, all of it is exactly what we need. The December updates enhance your existing knowledge. They do not replace it. You are adding planning conversations to your toolkit, not abandoning everything that we've already learned. So for the remainder of the Lovable course, I will be incorporating that planning first methodology into all of the remaining sessions in the course. But for now, I just want you to start experimenting with chat mode planning on your own projects. See how it feels. Notice the quality improvements, and then track the credit economics. And finally, and most importantly, utilize the most valuable tool that you have, your AI for Business Pro membership, your access to Revven, your ability to stack Revven's chat mode, the Revven Prompt Builder, and the Revven Prometheus Prompt Architect directly onto Lovable, and the many other tools inside the Revven toolbox that we haven't even touched on tonight. Stacking Revven with Lovable is an unprecedented combination, and I genuinely believe that this puts us in the top 1% of AIpreneurs, business owners, and developers worldwide. So I look forward to seeing the amazing applications that you all will build. The tools are in your hands. The knowledge is in your mind. All that remains is for you to take action. So I'm wishing you all many blessings in this upcoming new year. Now let's go build something extraordinary. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about the December updates, the planning conversation methodology, and how Lovable wants you to treat it like a junior developer, the credit economics, and all that good stuff. But here's the thing. You and I, we're not like everybody else. We have Revven. We have access to Claude Opus 4.5 right inside of our AI for Business membership. So let me show you what this actually looks like in practice. I'm going to build something right now, live, with you watching. And I want you to see just how powerful this workflow is. I've opened my browser. I have Revven opened up and I'm signed in. And I'm going to select Claude Opus 4.5 for my chat. This is the same model that Lovable just integrated, the best in the world, in my opinion. But we've had access to this for quite a while now through our membership. Now, watch this. I'm going to talk to Claude like I'm just a regular person with an idea. No technical jargon, no fancy prompts, just plain English. I want to create an online course platform, something where I can share the knowledge that I've built up over my career and help people learn from what I know. I'm picturing a place where students can sign up and watch my lessons, track their progress, and maybe even get a certificate when they finish. But honestly, I'm not exactly sure what I need to make this a reality. I've never built anything like this before. Can you please ask me clarifying questions so we can figure out all of this together? Okay, there's my pre-prompt. Revven is thinking. And it has generated its clarifying questions. So let's take a look at this. This is exactly what we talked about in the presentation, the planning conversation. But instead of burning Lovable credits on this dialogue, I'm having it here in Revven first for free as part of my AI for Business membership. So let me answer these questions the way any normal person would do. I'm not going to pretend that I know more than I do. Now, what I like to do is copy the questions and then open up a notepad. I will paste the questions in and begin to answer them. Okay, so I've went through and answered the questions. Let me just go over them with you. What's your area of expertise? My answer, I have a variety of knowledge. However, it has just occurred to me that I would like others to be able to share their knowledge as well. Perhaps a community knowledge hub where a variety of people around the world can share their knowledge and perhaps charge a small fee to access their training. Next question, how much content do you already have? My answer, I am starting from scratch. Next, how many courses are you envisioning? My answer, I will refer to my answer above. Let's rethink this. A community-driven hub for anyone to share their knowledge. Perhaps a unique approach that has a YouTube feel, but is much more user-friendly. Something they can record on their phone, easily upload, and make a decision on offering it for free or charging a few dollars. I'm beginning to envision another twist to this. Something like Fiverr. The user could offer their knowledge for free or charge a single dollar or $5. Next question, who is your target audience? Adults over 18. How many students are you expecting initially? My answer, I suppose it depends on how engaging your creation produces. Next question, will courses be self-paced or do you want live cohort-based elements? My answer, I am not sure. The way this is going right now, single lessons. Maybe have an option for the user to produce a series. Next question. What does tracking progress mean to you? My answer. A way for a user to pick up where they left off in case they are distracted or are learning on the fly or squeezing in their view time between tasks. For certificates, do you need them to be verifiable, printable, or integrated? My answer, I don't think I need certificates for this idea. Next question, do you want community features? My answer, perhaps a simple comments field that is viewable by the public, like YouTube would have under their videos. Any need for one-on-one interaction? My answer, no. Business model, how do you want to charge? One-time purchase. Now let's add to that one-time purchase for the user who created the video. Do you need to handle payments yourself, or would you prefer a platform that manages that? My answer, platform managed. Technical comfort. What's your technical skill level? Ooh, this is important. Are you comfortable with website builders, or do you prefer something plug and play? My answer, I am a complete beginner and will rely on lovable.dev to produce the entire interface. We'll get back to that in just a moment. And the next question, do you want to build on your own website, or are you open to using an existing course platform like Teachable or Thinkific or Kajabi? My answer, again, I will use lovable.dev. And then his comment at the bottom, take your time, answer whichever questions feel most relevant to start, and we'll narrow things down from there. Now, I've just been reminded that my initial prompt was, I want to create an online course platform. So he does not have the context yet. So let's go up here to the very top. And let me make a correction up here. I want to clarify to you that I am needing you to help me develop the pre-prompt for me to input into a prompt generator. I will take this prompt, I will take this generated prompt and input it into lovable.dev, which is a vibe coding platform that creates stunning websites and applications with spoken language rather than the developer knowing how to code. Okay, so that gives it a little bit more context to work with. So we'll go ahead and just copy this. And now I'll drop those answers right back into Revven and ship that off. And our Revven chat with Claude Opus 4.5 has produced an additional set of questions. This is a fantastic pivot. You just described something really compelling, a community-driven micro-learning marketplace that blends the accessibility of YouTube with the monetization simplicity of Fiverr. I love it. Before I craft the perfect pre-prompt for lovable.dev, let me ask a few more clarifying questions to nail down the details. So let me go ahead and copy those and we'll answer them. And back to Notepad. Okay, and now I've answered the questions and let's go through them. Before I craft the perfect pre-prompt for lovable.dev, let me ask a few more clarifying questions to nail down the details. Platform identity. Do you have a name in mind? I said give suggestions. What's the visual aesthetic you're drawn to? I am drawn to the bold and energetic recommendation that you made. Should it feel more like a learning platform or a creator economy? My answer, like a learning platform, as to distinguish from YouTube's creator vibe. Next question. How should creators upload content? Direct video upload only? I just said yes. Allow screen recordings, audio, or slides. My answer, screen recordings and recorded videos, including pro cameras and selfie style videos with mobile devices. MP4 should be the standard. Next question. What information should creators provide when uploading? Title, description, category, tags, price, thumbnail? My answer, yes, all of these. Should creators have profile pages showing all their lessons, bio, ratings? My answer, yes, that is a great idea. Next question. How should users discover content? My answer, a search bar for sure, but also a page that is very well organized into categories. For example, recipes, automotive, bicycle repair. Next question. Search bar, categories, trending, popular, recommended for you. I just skipped that. Do users need accounts to watch free content or only to purchase and track progress? My answer, free videos should be accessible by all without an account, just like YouTube. Should there be a watch later or a saved feature? My answer, yes, but only if they are registered. Monetization. What's your revenue model? Take a percentage of each sale? My answer, yeah, a percentage. Flat fee, I didn't answer. Free to start, monetize later. Yeah, that sounds good. How should creators get paid? Their recommendation, Stripe Connect is common for marketplace payouts. Is that acceptable? My answer, yes. And then finally, if a creator wants to make a series, how should that work? My answer, you decide, whatever makes sense. Playlist style grouping, sure. Bundle pricing, sure. Sequential unlock, no. Watch one lesson before lesson 2. Some people like to skip ahead, so I'm not going to force them into a sequential unlock. And Claude's final comment, answer what resonates, skip what doesn't, and I'll generate a comprehensive lovable.dev ready prompt for you. Fantastic, because I did skip a few things. Okay, so let me Control A, copy, Control C, and then back to Revven. And then Control V to paste. Can you imagine how many credits it would have taken to get this far before the new Lovable methodology? I'm also curious how many credits it would take for me to have this dialogue with Lovable's new interactive chat methodology as well. I do believe I've probably saved a decent handful of credits here. Okay, let's see its response. Great follow-up questions. Here are my answers. I'm open to name suggestions. I'd love something catchy and memorable that conveys knowledge sharing. I'm drawn to a warm and inviting aesthetic like Airbnb, approachable and friendly. It should feel more like a creator economy platform with learning as the outcome. Creator experience. Let's start with direct video upload to keep it simple. Creators should provide a title, description, category, price, thumbnail. Yes, creators should have profile pages with their lessons, a short bio, and rating. Viewer and learner experience. Users should discover content through search, category, trending, recommended. Free content should be accessible without an account. Yes, include watch later, monetize and payments. Let's go with a percentage of each sale. Stripe Connect. Series and organizations. Okay, I think that covers everything. Let me know if you need anything else clarified before generating the prompt. I'm pretty good with that. Let's go with that. I am good with that. Please generate the pre-prompt for me to drop into Prometheus prompt generator. Any further clarification, I will let Lovable handle. Okay, let's ship that. And wait for the response. Okay, let's copy that and take a look at it in Notepad. Your pre-prompt for Prometheus. Copy and paste this into your generator. Build a community-driven micro-learning marketplace web app where anyone can share their knowledge through short video lessons and optionally charge viewers a small fee or offer content for free. Think of it as a blend between YouTube's accessibility and Fiverr's simple monetization model, but focused entirely on knowledge sharing. Platform names, suggestions, Skill Drop, LearnByte, NoHub, MicroMentor, SkillSpark, or WisdomWell. Choose one or generate alternatives that feel warm and approachable. Design aesthetics, we'll skip that. I'm going to put my faith in Lovable for that. User roles, creators can sign up, create, upload, title, description. It looks all good. Can browse. Looks like everything we've talked about. Core features, content discovery, search bar, video player, creator dashboard. Everything looks pretty good. Watch later, saved, everything that we talked about. Monetization, payments, technical requirements. Let's take a look at this one. Fully responsive, mobile first, user authentication. Look at that. Fantastic. So our sign up, our login, our password, that's important. These are things that we may not have thought of as a complete beginner. Secure payment integration via Stripe Connect. Database for users, videos, transactions, comments. Another area that you might not have known to prompt for the use of databases and how databases are very important to applications like this. The clean, intuitive UI, that requires no technical knowledge. Homepage, browse, creator, view, sign up, everything looks great. And here's the summary. Create a warm, inviting, mobile-friendly, micro-learning marketplace where creators worldwide can easily upload short video lessons, set simple pricing, and earn money sharing their knowledge. Viewers can discover, watch, save, and purchase content with a seamless experience. The platform should feel like a supportive creator community first, with learning as the joyful byproduct. Good luck with your build. Let me know if you'd like me to refine anything. No, we're going to depend on now Prometheus. So Revven has got us this far already, and we are leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. And we've not even opened Lovable yet. So let's copy this pre-prompt. Let's go back to Revven. And this time, let's go to the prompter. And we will open up Prometheus. Activate. Prometheus is activated, and we will drop that pre-prompt right here. I just want to make sure that it did say that it's creating this for Lovable. And I do not see a reference to lovable.dev. Just to make sure, I want to go ahead and add that. You are building a super prompt that I will input into lovable.dev. Make sure that you understand the best practices of a lovable.dev instruction. Take your time to research and review lovable.dev before you generate your response. All right, let's try that. And let's make sure our new instruction is inserted in there. You are building a super prompt. Yep, perfect. Okay, here comes our Prometheus prompt. In the meantime, I'll open up Lovable and get logged in and ready. Prometheus is creating the prompt. I have logged into Lovable, and what I'd like to do is look at my credits. 96.5. So let's keep a note of exactly how many credits I have here before we ship this prompt off. Okay, it looks like our prompt is done. Let's take a good look at it. Prometheus, transform your micro-learning marketplace into an optimized lovable.dev super prompt. Before I generate, let me share what I've identified as lovable.dev's best practices. Lovable prompt engineering insights. What Lovable excels at? Full stack React TypeScript applications with Tailwind CSS, Supabase integration for the backend, component library integration, Stripe payments, mobile responsiveness, best practices, iterative development through conversational refinement, best practices for prompts, be specific, break into phases, reference patterns, specify preferences, include flows, define data relationships. Outstanding. Calling it SkillSpark. Share what you learn what you love. Build SkillSpark, a community-driven micro-learning marketplace where creators can share knowledge through short video lessons with simple monetization. This is the intersection of YouTube's accessibility and Fiverr's straightforward pricing and Airbnb's warm, inviting design aesthetic. The platform prioritizes creators first, making it effortless to upload, price, and earn from knowledge. Learners discover bite-sized lessons across diverse categories, purchase with one-click simplicity, and track their learning journey. Target users are adults who want to learn and monetize their expertise. Technical stack requirements. Check this out. Build this as a full stack web application with the front end, the back end, the payments, the video management, state management, the routing. Very comprehensive. Then it goes into the design, the color palettes, typography, user interface principles, the database schema. And here's another area where Revven is saving us a ton of credits if we were to have this interaction directly with Lovable. The tables, the categories, business, technology, creative, lifestyle, health, wellness. This is fantastic. Tables are a very big part of these type of apps, as are the user roles and permissions. All of your row level security. Here's our page-by-page specifications. We got a landing page, a browse explore page, individual lesson page, creator profile page, a dashboard, a viewer dashboard, authentication page, checkout payment page, about page, frequently asked questions page, core user flows, flow 1, learner discovery and purchase lessons. Okay, this is just outstanding, unreal. Critical functionality details. Accept common formats, MP4, MOV, and WebM. Maximum file size, that's pretty generous, 500 megabytes. Store in Supabase storage buckets. Generate video URLs. The progress tracking we discussed earlier. Search, responsive, loading. Another whole section here on the Supabase RLS. All phases of development. Quality assurance criteria, initial build request. All right, let's read the bottom here. Focus on the complete happy path first. The creator can upload a lesson and a viewer can discover and watch it. Remember, the design should feel like a warm hug, inviting, friendly, and creator celebratory. Every interaction should reinforce that sharing knowledge is easy and rewarding on SkillSpark. This prompt is optimized for lovable.dev's AI-powered development. It provides clear structure while allowing implementation flexibility, references familiar patterns, specifies the tech stack, and breaks the project into buildable phases. Just look at the size of this. Look at all the detail. Prometheus just created a super prompt that includes everything: the user authentication system, the database schema, the row-level security policies, the Stripe integration for payments, the video player, the progress tracking. If I had tried to write this myself, I wouldn't even know where to start. If I had tried to get Lovable to figure all this out through back and forth conversation, I would probably burn through 15, maybe 20, or even 30 credits. Okay, so let's copy this over to Lovable. And remember, we're starting out here with 96.5 credits. Let's paste that in and ship it off. So I shipped off the Prometheus prompt in Lovable using the new Lovable chat mode methodology, the planning conversation methodology. I have the chat button on, it is blue. If I had it turned off, it would have shipped off the prompt and began building it. In this case, I actually had it on when I shipped it. So it went into that chat mode, that planning conversation methodology mode. And I'm thankful for that because now I can answer additional clarifying questions. Let's see exactly what Lovable has to say. This is an incredibly comprehensive and well thought out specification for SkillSpark. You've clearly put a lot of work into defining the vision, design system, database schema, and user flows. Thank you, Revven. Before I create a plan, I'd like to clarify a few things to make sure we build exactly what you need. How would you like to approach building this? Start with a minimal viable product or build out more features from the start? MVP first. Core features only, authentication, lesson uploads, browse, watch, add payments, and dashboards later. Full phase, build foundation, content core, and discovery features before adding payments. Next, complete platform, build everything, including Stripe payments, dashboards, and all feature components. Now, because this is only a demonstration, I'll go with minimal viable product. Our next question, for video handling, do you have a preference on approach? Supabase storage, store videos directly in Supabase, or a simpler setup but may have bandwidth limits? External services later, start with Supabase but designed for easy migration to Cloudinary or Mux. Yeah, let's start with Supabase. Next question, do you already have a Stripe account ready for Connect migration? No. Skip initially. Which authentication method do you want to support? Email password only, email and Google, email and multiple social. Google, GitHub, and others. I kind of like that Google OAuth. Let's stick with that. Okay, here we go. It is 6:30. And let's ship this off and see exactly how long it takes to build this entire MVP. We're at 95.5. So it cost me so far a single credit, 1 credit. So when you purchase 100 credits for $25 per month to Lovable, 1 credit would be 25 cents. So far, I've only spent 25 cents. Let's ship this off. Right off the bat, he says, excellent choices. MVP first approach with email and Google Auth and deferred payments makes a lot of sense. This will let you validate the core experience before adding monetization complexity. So let me just confirm one more thing. Which of these features should be included in the MVP? Ratings and comments, series and playlists, watch later, progress tracking. Let's just load it up. Why not? Which of these features should be included in the MVP? We got them all? Okay, here we go. Now we're at 6:31. He says that's a robust MVP. Now I have a clear picture of what we're building. Overview, build a community-driven micro-learning marketplace, design foundation, row-level security, video handling, build sequence, setup, user interface, content, discovery, engagement, dashboard, and then polish. Does this plan capture what you're looking for? Any features that you'd like to add, remove, or prioritize differently? If this was not a demonstration, I would go through this a lot more carefully, but let's just go ahead and implement. And now we're at 6:32. And that probably cost me 1 credit, 95.5. No, that did not cost me another credit. I'm still at only 1.0 credits spent. Oh, look at that. I got a bonus for sending 25 messages to Lovable. I get 5 free credits. So actually, I am, $1 ahead at this point. And there we go, claim. It's pretty neat. I keep getting bonus credits. I don't know why it hasn't given me the 5 credits for adding a custom domain, because I have added that lovablequiz.com. You guys have seen that, I do believe, that lovablequiz.com, the Lovable quiz that I made that accompanied the Lovable course. We're at 6:34. I'm going to let them work on it in a minute, and I'll keep an eye on this so we can track the total time and the total credits. And here we have it. 6:38. Our total time was what? We started at 6:22. Total build time of about 6 minutes. All in all, this looks fantastic. We have a nice clean user interface. We have our OAuth and registration page. We have our categories. And we have a good looking footer here at the bottom. It looks fantastic. Now let's take a look at our credit usage. I started out at 96.5 and we spent 1.5 credits on our dialogue, which brought me down to 95. Then they gave me that 5 credit bonus, which took me up to 100 credits. And then it just generated this entire SkillSpark application, which cost me 3.4 credits. I have 96.6 left. A grand total of 85 cents to build the SkillSpark application. Outstanding. So look at what's happened. Lovable has built out the entire application. It's created the authentication system. It's set up the database tables. We can go look at those real quick. Look at that. It's amazing. All our RLS policies are all here. Categories, comments, lessons, profiles, ratings, saved lessons, series. I mean, this is outstanding. And this would have cost you $15,000, $20,000 maybe just a couple of years ago. And I just built it for 85 cents. And there it is. A fully functional online course platform built in one shot. With all the back-end implementation included. The stuff that would normally take a developer weeks and even months to set up. All of this from a conversation in Revven to a pre-prompt to Prometheus to Lovable for a few credits for 85 cents. Now think about this for a second. If I had gone directly to Lovable and tried to describe all this through their chat mode, best case scenario, I spent 10 to 15 credits going back and forth, answering their follow-up questions, iterating what things aren't quite right. But because I have Revven, because we have Revven, I had that entire planning conversation for free as part of our membership. I got Claude Opus 4.5 to help me think through every detail. Then Prometheus architected the perfect prompt, and Lovable just built it in one shot for 3.4 credits or 85 cents. This is what I mean when I say we're in the top 1%. This workflow, Revven chat to Prometheus to Lovable, it does not exist anywhere else in the world. Only AI for business members have this. And the online course platform, that's just one example. You could do this with any application you can imagine. Whatever business you're in, whatever problem you want to solve, whatever idea that you've been sitting on, this workflow can bring it to life. So that's it. That's the power of stacking Revven with Lovable. An unprecedented combination that puts you ahead of 320,000 lovable customers and billions of people worldwide who simply don't have access to what you have. I really look forward to seeing the amazing applications that you will build. And I encourage you to post a link to your new app in our private community to share your win with your brothers and sisters here in our AI for B family. The tools are in your hands. The knowledge is now in your mind. All that remains is for you to take action. So, wishing you all many blessings in this upcoming new year. Again, now go build something extraordinary.